Welcome back to Ether Realms, everyone. I'm your host, Sam, and I hope that you're enjoying the stories we're providing for you. I like to feature independent artists on the channel, and, well, that's primarily because I am one. But in my own writing journey, I meet a lot of other writers, and for me to be able to bring you some of their work as well is a real joy. Tonight, something maybe a little less spooky, though still creepy in nature and somewhat thought-provoking. We're taking a walk in fantasy with independent artist and author Serena Mossgraves. Serena brings us a tale of a nuclear apocalypse and an interesting look at what could happen. I will be presenting this in 2 parts, so make sure that you subscribe and click the notification bell so that you'll be alerted when the next episode is posted. It will be sooner than you think. In the meantime, make sure you check all the description box below so that you can find links for Serena online and get her other fiction and poetry that is available through Amazon. Now, without further ado, let's get to the story. I present to you Apocalyptic Truths by Serena Mossgraves. The world went to hell, and the human race damn near went with it. It's been about a year since the latest incident, a year of nothing even resembling normalcy. Death follows me across a broken and hollowed-out land. Let me pause here. I should start at the beginning, with introductions. I can give you the bull about being a pale writer, but it really is too cliché, even if it feels true. I am the one who ended the world. My arrogance before is why the majority of humans hide now. I was so sure of what I was doing. I thought playing God was worth it. Now, I'm not so sure. My name, if it really matters, was Tracy Campbell. I was a scientist in one of the various labs for the CDC. Our job was to find out the cause of disease, to prevent the so-called superflu from being created, or at least that is what the world was told. We mostly tried to stop the disease coming in the air from the tear between the worlds. I decided to take it one step farther. It sounds silly. I was researching the idea that disease was only effective on humans. Other races had been spotted vaguely. I thought if I could bring one of them through, just a little bit, I could get some blood and find the cure to the incurable. The original incident was before my time. The nuclear bombs dropped across the world during the World Wars had torn what was believed to be several holes into other realms. Just none as wide and open as the one I did. The other realms could be seen through the rifts, and it brought greater amounts of disease whenever the opening was spotted. They moved, you see, appearing stronger in some places than in others. The determination was made that their air quality on the other side was hazardous. That was really the only thing about the other side that we could determine. When the rifts opened, we at the CDC would have to open quarantine areas and research the diseases that rampaged the contained area. So, I often got to see the thin veil of smoke that kept our world from bleeding into darkness on the other side. I watched as large demonic shapes passed by what seemed like smoke-filled doorways into insanity. Nothing ever came through the smoke until I broke the veil. The heat also spiked where the breaks opened. After a time, we started to call them portals to hell. I let my ambition make my choices. The government were looking for ways to fix the atmosphere, even if it was a political mess. There were projects that had been testing to see if, since nuclear fission had caused the rifts, could nuclear fusion close them. There was also testing on laser and cold weapons in hopes that one of them making the rifts shrink in size, not one of them was having the desired result. Back then, I was a ravenous reader, though since the latest incident, reading is nearly impossible. Books are so much antiquities of a bygone era. I used to read anything of interest. I would spend all of my spare time when I was not working merely devouring all that I could find. The openings were something that had held my attentions from early on. It was part of why I pursued a career at the CDC. I wanted to be close to them. The only ones allowed near the rift were scientists. So I convinced everyone that I was a scientist. I was a child, looking for someone to tell me I had done a good job. Though I did the schooling and such to hold the title, I sped through school with the speed of a fool. There were several sorts of creatures who came through when the breaks fully opened. There were the large demons and small mephits. There were also other sorts. My original theory was made without any true idea of what was on the other side. I have since found that some of the creatures had antibodies that could help us, those humans who were left. The larger demons decided immediately that humans were food, so any who were unable to get underground were quickly devoured. The demons are too large for the majority of underground tunnels. The mephits, a much smaller breed of demon, seem to eat rocks and minerals, so they are less of a threat. Considering that they are small enough to sneak into human encampments, this was a major relief. The mephits also kept some of the other creatures from invading. Many of the remaining human settlements kept them as pets. Early alarm systems, if you will. The mephit's wail could wake the dead, and when the larger demons got within a mile radius, they would wail. As long as I don't display my credentials, I am welcome in any camp. My actions are not known, and that is likely why I still live. The CDC is still held to blame, though. I may not be known, but the fact that it was one of us is known. So many of my co-workers lie to survive. Science is often an evil witchcraft in the society that exists now. The worst threat to mankind didn't come through the rift. The worst threat is, as it always has been, ourselves. It has taken me most of the apocalypse to figure that out. There are now gangs that travel overland. If you escape the demons, which are visible for miles, you still have to avoid the gangs. They take whatever they want, and either rape or kill any that they catch. Most are human, but there's the occasional other involved. One that patrols the former New York City has what is termed an orc with them. It has large tusks and a porcine face, and a large muscular frame. There are a few of the new races that will help if you find yourself alone on the surface, but most will gladly assist in harming those who are caught above. I travel to help save those I endangered. I have learned the hard way how to fight, and I've learned when to hide. I have a pet mephit I call Flame, who eats fire. I have an orc friend who taught me how to kick ass. He's nothing like the others of his kind who came through the breach. T-Shed is his name. He taught me to handle a club and some hand-to-hand combat. He is soft-spoken and often thinks before he speaks. He has never been welcome among the humans. Fear of the unknown has always been the strongest of humanity's flaws. I will occasionally go in and gather supplies for us. Then I return to him in our somewhat nomadic ways. I am still human, but I find that with each passing day I feel less so. Humanity is corrupt and wave their flaws about like a flag, and I feel like I am to blame for their fall. Whether it is truth or not, it is how I see things. I think that I know how to close the rifts. I have spent every waking moment that I could spare researching the rifts. That is why I am writing this. If I fail, I want those who come after me to know what I tried. I want to tell myself that I am honestly a real scientist finally. Sealing the breach will not stop the creatures who are already on this side. It will only stop more from entering our world. Only the one fissure actually opened, though 5 are now visible at any given time. So if we can close the only open one, maybe we can keep the others closed the same way. The air around the rift has several elements in it that are not found in our normal atmosphere. I have done a chemical cocktail up. The list of ingredients will be attached separately. It should react with the otherworldly atmosphere. It may be a suicide attempt to set this off. Seems only fair. I screwed everything up, so if I can fix it, well, I gotta try. I have gathered both the supplies for the cocktail and the safety gear, so I might survive. We will have to see. Closing the rift will mean learning to deal with those who are already on this side, including the humans. I believe if the break is sealed, we can kill the large demons to make the world safer again. Then things will settle into a semblance of normal, even if normal no longer looks like what we expect it to. Our innocence was lost when the rift in the sky first opened. We were no longer alone in the world, much less the universe. My actions merely stopped the questions of what was on the other side. So I had hope that my actions this time would help the world find a semblance of balance. From here on, I will leave the tale in the hands of a dear friend. If I return to finish it, I will. If not, then it will be released as my apology to a world that I helped to build. May I be eventually forgiven. Well then, that was a cliffhanger. Not to worry, I do have the second part of this recorded, so that video will be going live for you next week with the second portion of this tale. Serena's fantasy fiction can be found through her website and her Facebook page, where she posts all sorts of information. She is also a talented poet and has a couple of poetry selections available for purchase on Amazon. Be sure you check out what she has to offer. And of course, as always, please support indie authors and indie artists. Your support is what makes it possible for us to continue to bring these wonderful stories to you. If you haven't already, please take a moment and make sure you like the video if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss episode 2. And of course, make sure that notification bell is rung so that you'll receive those in your email and notifications when new videos are available. As always, my name is Samantha. I write under the name of Ann Bell, and all the information you'll need to know about me is also on our website at www.etherrealmsmedia.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.